For people who don't know, my whole body is tattooed. The only space I have is this hand, and I've got a little gap on my foot. Other than that, every part of my body has been tattooed. Back, front, up, down, you name it. It wasn't something I ever thought I'm going to get my vagina tattooed, but my name is Becky Holt and I'm Britain's most tattooed woman.
Do you remember the moment you decided you wanted to transform like this?
I actually do remember when I wanted to become completely covered in tattoos, and basically I used to love Bizarre magazine. I used to see it in the newsagents, and I used to look at the women who were on the front of this magazine, and they were always really powerful looking women. They had lots of tattoos, they were dressed in latex, kind of pin-up kind of looking women, and I just looked at those and I thought, gosh, they look really amazing and I want to be that. That's who I want to be. And I can remember going to the tattoo studio and trying to like say how I wanted this sleeve, and they were actually quite against it. And I think it was just because I was a young woman, and I think in fact my first tattoo I was actually 15, but I remember going in and them sort of being a bit against it. And back then women weren't covered in tattoos. It wasn't something that was like fashionable. It was very, I guess, taboo. But I wanted it. And if I'm ever going to do something, I'm doing it to the extreme. So like I started having like lots of piercings and then lots of tattoos. And I just said to myself, yeah, I'm going to be completely covered. And then in 2014, I got the cover of Bizarre magazine. So it was like my dream to be on the cover. And then I did it eventually. So yeah, and then I just kept going. I just never stopped. My first tattoo when I was 15 was my ex-boyfriend's name. And it was right across my crotch. And it was a very, very silly mistake that I made. But obviously at 15 years old, I thought I knew best. I thought I knew what I was doing. And I didn't really think of the consequences or anything like that. And then I had a few here or there. But then, yeah, I started getting like really heavily covered. And obviously I covered up that tattoo that I had. And yeah, it just went from there, really. I'd started modelling and I sort of had a few coverable tattoos. I mean, then it probably seemed like I had lots. I had tattoos on my feet, my wrists, bits on my back, and I had like a few on my front and stuff. And I can remember being contacted by a friend of mine who said, do you want to go to a tattoo convention and have a free tattoo? It's got to be big. You've got to sit the whole day. And it was with Tommy Crazy. And so he's done everything from the waist down. And I worked with him and we won. It was like best piece of the day or something like that. So he did a Ganesh on my thigh, and so it had to be something that was like really, really big, and you had to be able to sit for the duration. And I thought, yeah, I can do this. So he did this tattoo, and he said to me, if you want, I will continue to tattoo you. You can be like my canvas. And because I was obviously already doing like little bits of magazine work and things like that. So yeah, he just said, I'll keep tattooing you. And if you can promote me and stuff. I had like lots of followers on Instagram and things like that. So yeah, it just sort of went from there. And then as I started getting tattooed a lot by him, it made other artists want to get their work on me, because I was on covers of magazines and stuff, and they wanted to showcase their work and get promotion and things like that. So yeah, I've worked with lots of different artists over the years, and you know, made a good name for myself as being Britain's most tattooed woman in the process.
So when you first started getting covered, what did your family think?
So I can remember a conversation that I had with my mum, and it was basically like along the lines of, when are you actually going to turn this into full-on artwork? Because at the time it was sort of like tramp stamps is what they called it, little bits here and there. And she said, you know, are you gonna? And I was like, yeah, I'm working on it, but obviously this is a process that takes a long time. And I guess it was from working with Tommy Crazy that this sort of evolved, and I was able to then get like these huge pieces done, because obviously it's expensive to get tattooed. But yeah, I got sponsored, and then I was having these massive pieces done, and I was going to different conventions all over the world, and like working with the different artists and stuff. So it's sort of like evolved from Tommy, really. It's him I have to thank for what sort of kick-started me to get like a full suit. And then once I'd got one, I was always like looking for the next big thing, and what else can I get, and oh, there's a gap there, I need to fill that. And just basically, yeah, just got into the mindset of, I'm going to be covered, I have to get every single bit done.
Did any part of you think, am I sure I want to do this?
I'm a very compulsive person, and I'm all or nothing, and so I don't really think about it. I don't think about the consequences. I remember when I was like in my 20s and I sort of said to myself, I'm going to have a full suit, but I'm not going to get my throat or my hands done. And then I ran out of space and I ended up having my throat done. I've even got them all down the sides of my head. Now I've obviously got my hands done, and at the time I had a tattoo shop. So I didn't think about, oh, well, I won't be able to get a job because I had a tattoo shop and that's what I thought I was always going to do. So it never I never was really bothered about like the concept of, will this affect me later on in life? So I just went for it and I just carried on, and here I am with my whole body covered in tattoos.
When you look back at photos of you beforehand, how do you feel now compared to the person in those early photos?
So when I look back at pictures of myself, it's not me. I don't feel like I am who she was. I've definitely sort of grown up a lot and matured, and I've had surgery and things like that. And I've struggled with my confidence and I've struggled with my looks and stuff. And I feel like having all the tattoos has made me who I am. And when I look at pictures of when I was younger, I don't feel like that person. And I've also like done experiments where they've covered all my tattoos, and like I've had Photoshop done where all my tattoos are gone, and I find it weird because that is not me. And I feel like I have like this frame around my face and it makes me look completely different when I look at myself without them. And even my friends have been like, that is odd, like it just looks so strange to me. And so yeah, this is sort of me and I wouldn't change it, and I love it. I get a lot of stick for the way that I look, but it's me who has to look like this, nobody else. But yeah, definitely like I have battled with my confidence. Even now, I don't really look in the mirror and I'm not happy with the way that I look. I love my tattoos, that's great. But like in terms of like my figure and my face, I definitely, if I had the money, would make changes to it if I could. I would describe the pain of being tattooed, like it's like a burning sensation. It hurts, it doesn't feel nice. It can feel more bearable in certain places than others, but on a whole, it's boring. I really struggle with sitting still. I struggle with I get bored so easily, and so I'll always have to be like listening to a podcast or watching something on the telly, or like I often do like Q&As on my Instagram where that basically takes my mind away from what's going on. I've also got to the point where I just sort of numb them now because I've earned my stripes. I've done years and years and years of getting tattooed, and I'm at the point where it hurts and I don't want to go for that pain, but I also want to progress with my suit. So I will take things to help me get through it.
Which tattoo hurt the most?
The one that hurt the most was my palm. That was really brutal. That was not nice. And obviously I've had my crotch done, and that was hideous. Also armpits are not nice. Anything in a crease, so if you've got like a bend, that hurts, and the healing process of that takes even longer because you're always moving it. So yeah, anything in a crease is not very nice. And yeah, but yeah, top one is definitely the hand. That was hideous.
When you say about getting your crotch done,
let me explain why I got my crotch tattooed. So like, it wasn't something I ever thought I'm going to get my vagina tattooed, but I had a full suit and it was going all the way to the lips and everything around, like it's all in the groin and everything, and you could just see it. It was like I had all this really bright artwork done, and then you could just see these pink lips, and I was like, I've got to get rid of that, like, because it made it stand out. It was the same with my face tattoos. So I have like mandalas that go all the way around, and as soon as I'd done it, I was like, oh, my ears are so stuck out because it's bright pink compared to the dark, and the contrast of it bothered me. So I got my ears tattooed as well because I just didn't want that skin showing, because it just didn't look right. Everything else is tattooed, I may as well do that as well. So yeah, I had that done too.
In terms of how much you've spent, do you have any idea how much you've spent in total on all of the tattoos?
A word on the street is it's about 35k, but I don't know. I've never kept track of it. I really wish I'd counted all the hours and all the time and all the money that has been spent on it. But I have had a lot of sponsorship as well. I've been very lucky to work with a lot of artists who have just basically done the work for promotional purposes. But yeah, they say it's like 35k or something like that.
Does your partner have tattoos too?
Sorry. My partner has no tattoos. He is a completely blank canvas. He's scared of needles. He doesn't want a tattoo. He would never get a tattoo. It's just not for him. And yeah, it's really strange. Like, people are always like, oh, I bet your boyfriend's covered in tattoos. And I'm like, he has not got one tattoo. And even like we do, I think we look a bit strange together. We look completely different, but he's not with me because of my tattoos. He obviously sees past them.
You've got a daughter now.
Yeah.
How old is she, and what does she think about her mum's tattoo?
So my daughter Aurora is 4 years old, going to be 5 in December. She loves my tattoos. It's just normal to her. She doesn't know any different, obviously. Like, I used to get a bit of grief online, like saying, oh, your daughter's going to be scared of you and she's going to get bullied and things like that, which is just ridiculous. She has come to a tattoo convention with me and I gave her a sleeve. Like, we bought some tattoos online, like the transfers, and we did her a whole sleeve, and she loves it. Like, you know, it's a very creative world, and I think, you know, she's quite into art and stuff like that, and she likes it. Yeah.
How do people react when they see you in public?
So in public, it's funny, like, I don't notice it. I am in my own world, so I'm not paying attention to a lot that's going on around me, but my friends will be like, do you know everybody's looking at you? And I'm like, I know they are, but it's not something that I witness myself, really. Sometimes I do. It's funny, like, I remember going to the gym last week with my dad, and there was quite a lot of elderly people in the gym, and they must have had some sort of session for OAPs going on at the time, but they are jaws on the floor, and my dad, like, sort of burst out laughing, and he was like, you're really turning heads in here. And I was just like, I know, it's fine. Like, he was like, are you okay? And I'm like, it doesn't bother me. I got on the train the other day and this woman, like, saw me, and you could just see, look at her, like that, like she's gone to the front, look at that. But people aren't used to it. I'm from a very small village, and I think that there's nobody else in my village that looks like me. There's nobody that's got, like, lots of tattoos. So I definitely sort of stick out like a sore thumb. And I get it. Like, I've got tattoos all over my face. Like, that is not normal. And you don't come across that every day. But I don't mind. It's fine. Like, if you want to stare at me, it's completely fine. Take my picture, ask me questions, not a problem. It's quite a good conversation starter. I've always just sort of been in my own world and blind to other people's opinions and how they perceive me. Just because I've got lots of tattoos, it doesn't make me this weirdo or, you know, a thug. I've been, like, rejected from bars, and I've been to places where they've said, sorry, you can't come in here, you've got face tattoos. And it's just like, my appearance should not matter. I'm a nice person, I'm kind, and I don't really get why people would have any sort of opinion against me. Like, I always say this, I don't care that you're not tattooed, so why do you care that I am? Because it doesn't make me any different from any other person. I just happen to have artwork all over my skin. That is it. I just carry my artwork in a different way to some people, and it's fine. If you don't like it, doesn't have any impact on my life whatsoever if you don't like them. It literally doesn't bother me. And I get a lot of hate online, and I get a lot of comments from people saying, oh, she'll never get a job. I've got two jobs, and oh, the daughter's gonna be bullied in school. Like, my daughter's kids, like, friends, they think I look really cool when I go and pick her up from the school gates. I'm one of the cool mums, and it's just really funny the way people think. I don't know. It's a very strange way to think. It's very small-minded if you have an opinion of me based on the way that I look. Years ago, I filmed a social experiment, and what they did was they sent me out into the streets of London to ask people for simple things. Do I know the time? Any change? Can you point me in the direction of this, that, and the other? And the people would be really rude to me, and it's always about my appearance. So they would be like, not willing to help. Then they took me back into the studio, they covered all my tattoos, they made me look completely normal and made me do the same thing again. And people were so much more willing to help me because I didn't have all these face tattoos. And I just find it crazy because they're just tattoos. Like, I don't really get it.
How much further would you go? Could you ever tattoo your eyes, lips, ears?
I've thought about tattooing my eyes. I would not. I like my eyes. My eyes are a very nice crystal blue colour. I think it looks cool to look at. I've seen a lot of people, I've got friends that have it done. It's just something I would not do. There was a time where I thought about having my tongue split. I think it looks really, really cool, but again, not something I'm going to do. Was once something I wanted to do, but don't want to do it anymore. And how far I'll go with tattooing is just basically working on the work that I've already got. I sometimes think about doing more on my face. I often think, shall I get another little one there? And then I'm like, no, you've done enough. Like, I have a frame around my face and I think it looks really good. And I need to remember that sometimes enough is enough.
Are you worried about getting old and how your tattoos will look?
I'm not worried about getting old and what they'll look like. I just don't get the whole, I get so many comments from people who say, oh, what's it gonna look like when you're older? And I'm just like, so what? Yes, I'll have wrinkly tattooed skin. I'm going to have wrinkly skin anyway. So does it really matter that I'm old and wrinkly and tattooed? I'm probably going to be more worried about my health and my children, my children's children, and my pension and things like that. And yeah, my health, like, I'm really not going to be thinking about my appearance at that age. I'm quite sure of it. And I think, like, people often say, like, oh, she's made a mistake and what's she going to do? I'm not going to wake up one day, like, I've been doing this for 20 years. Am I suddenly going to wake up and go, oh my God, I've made a huge mistake. And what have I done? Like, this is a lifestyle and it's something that I have a huge passion in, and it's definitely something like I am addicted to, and I have hyperfixated on it all my life, and it is my thing. I love body modification and I love anything a bit weird and a bit different. And I guess now it's not as different as it used to be. I think back in the day when I started getting tattoos, it was because I wanted to be different to everybody else. You know, lots of people are tattooed now, maybe not so much as me. But yeah,